Janaki, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Oh, you're so welcome. My
So,
pleasure.
yay. So, I love this topic, transforming perceived weakness into strengths. So, could you tell me more? What what would you say perceived weaknesses are?
So whenever we have something that we may have judged and have had some shame around. So
Mhm,
shame is right or wrong, good or bad, not enough, too
mhm,
much. And we may have, because of the lens of others, of what others may have said, we took on that.
mm,
And so, like, for instance, I was called slow.
mhm,
So I judged me for being slow. I made me being wrong for being slow.
mm,
And what I have now remembered is those weaknesses that we've judged ourselves for are actually our great strengths. They
mm,
are our superpowers.
mm,
And so now, during 2020, I had a aha moment when everything started to slow down. Everything, our
mhm,
whole world just simply slowed down.
mhm.
I go, "Oh, we're slowing down and speeding up for the frequency of love." And I go, "Oh, you've been judging your slow, making it wrong. Oops." That's your superpower, Janaki, because when you slow down, because when you slow down, you're actually slowing down to really be with yourself, be with your feelings versus the busy stuff. Sometimes we do a lot of busy stuff, so we're
Mhm.
not having to be with our feelings
Yeah,
and
keeps
avoiding of who we are.
yeah,
And so that's become one of my big superpowers is that's my gift. I
yeah,
slow down and I speed up. I
yeah.
help others slow down and they speed up.
Mhm. I can completely relate to that, for the longest time, 'cause you hear I have a very calm voice, and I hated it because it's like everybody loved the hyper energetic extrovert people, and I was like, "Where do I fit in? Like, what good do I bring?"
Mm.
And then I was attracting people who had, like, a lot of anxiety who, like, immediately feel calm around me.
Mm.
Whether it be in person or on screen, I have the ability to help people calm down, and that helps them be able to get back into their higher self brain and actually rationalize things and work through things and get in touch with themselves, so I definitely understand.
Yes.
Here's my strength.
Yes, and we have many,
Yeah.
and so what it is, we get to experience the opposite. I had this book has helped. It's a children's book. It's
Mhm.
by the author. I love Neil Donald Walsh, and it's a book called Living. No, not The Little Soul in the Sun. Someone
Mm,
gifted it to me when I was pregnant with my daughter
mhm,
over 10 years ago.
mhm.
And I've read it maybe 1,000 times because I
Mm,
love this book and I cry almost every time.
that's
And
good.
one of the verses in the book is there's a little soul, and he goes, "Well, how do I know I'm special?" She goes, God says, "You may not know you're special. You may not know you're light because you're amongst the light.
Mm,
And in order for you to remember you're the light, you get to experience darkness."
mm,
So
mhm,
we get to experience the opposite of who we really are
mhm.
to remind us of what we're not and like what we're really here for.
Yeah, I love that get to experience
Mhm.
because that is an empowered state, right? Like that mindset is like it doesn't allow you to shrink. It allows you to grow into, step into, lean into what am I learning here? What am I experiencing here? And what do I take away? I love that perspective.
Yes. Yes.
So what so I imagine you work on this with clients, and so what are some of the things, some of the challenges that you've worked through with people? Because I'm sure whoever catches this later, they, just
First,
share some situations. Yeah.
it's funny because 'cause they'll come to me either they I've noticed, um, I've had a lot of clients who have experienced, loss
Hmm.
because, in the grand scheme of consciousness, we are all one and there is no separation.
Mhm.
And that's the part of the illusion. So what I'm, as far as my clients, disconnected with their feelings and not fully loving themselves,
Mhm.
because that's the first step. If you choose, like I've had people come to me for relationships, they want a better relationship with their spouse or manifest a relationship.
Yeah.
And how are you going to manifest or bring forth your partner if you're not loving you?
Yeah.
You get to treat you how you choose for others to treat you.
Yeah.
You get to be your highest relationship. And that's what I've experienced with my partner, my husband, is because we've been married 12 years, is we never actually fell in love. We grew in love.
Mhm.
And the deeper I have a relationship with me and my higher self,
Mhm.
and giving myself permission to fully express myself, even if it may trigger him,
Mhm.
instead of holding back.
Yeah.
That was one of my weaknesses.
Yeah.
I was the little good girl that held back
Mhm.
and wanted to please everyone else.
Yeah.
But I inside was suffering
Yeah.
because when we hold back our expression, we're cultivating depression.
Mhm.
And when you do feel depressed, the opposite is simply to express.
Mhm.
So the more you build your relationship with yourself, you what I'm now experiencing is I'm hearing the whispers of the universe. I'm hearing the whispers of God, the call of my heart, and I'm immediately responding. And every time I do, new doors of opportunity open. And
Yeah.
I simply walk through. It's not a running or chasing anymore. It's a more of a attracting.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. So would you say one of our one of the weaknesses that you deal with the most that is actually a strength is our voice. We feel like
Oh my God. I have so many God bumps right when you said that. Especially for women, the
Mhm.
collective. Oh my God. Like hearing you say that is like I hear angels singing. And yes, this is what I am here for
Mhm.
is, oh my, thank you. Like I just
Mhm.
had an aha moment just from you saying that. Yes. Yes. Our voices are so powerful. And as the collective, when I decided to have my women's retreat, I was like, I didn't realize the depth of what this was going to bring in me.
Mhm.
And it's something so precious because I was the little girl who wore the mask. I got triggered by the mask. And
Mhm.
so also one of the things in when I got that came through me is I used to run from my triggers.
Mhm.
I was like rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. If it's no, 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 no negative, no, 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 no. And so now I embrace those triggers because the triggers are the shadows of ourselves
Yeah.
that we've yet to acknowledge or even be aware of. Those shadows have come up because they are now ready to be integrated, restored into light because light and dark is the same.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if we're rejecting the shadow of ourself, we're rejecting ourself.
Yep. I literally just that's part so I'm giving a talk on the 10th, and that's part of what I say. I'm using the metaphor of, orchestra. Like, if you wouldn't play every other page of the composition. It's like ignoring the dark side, or like it doesn't make a whole person. And I've said that even in correlation to a book. Like, if you read every other page, that's like only reading half of the book. You need the whole book. Like, the good and the bad go together. And bad, I don't like the label, but
And that's okay.
yeah,
We kind of are a society that labels.
yeah.
I'm the same way. That's why, like I said, I don't call myself a coach. I'm an activator, and I help you align with your divine purpose.
Mhm.
Because I don't like labels either. Yeah. Because we tend to put ourselves in a box
Yeah,
when we label.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I'm going to put myself in a box, it's going to be a box I've created.
Yes. Yeah, I was reading somewhere, like, words are both helpful and not so helpful, right? Like, words limit you because you're limited to what you expect that word to mean or be. And I know I'm
Mhm.
off on a tangent a little bit, but it kind of helps you get the point across too. Because like in Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, he doesn't like to, to use the word God because in so many people's mind, God means this particular character with the long hair and a beard. He's like, that's why I don't like to use that label because it could trigger someone into and they won't hear the message. So words they can be helpful,
Yes.
but but
Share with you something, another great strength of mine. I
mhm,
used to, when I got married to my husband, we didn't use, like, I was against using God because of my idea of people putting God separate and the religious of outside, because
yeah,
God is us. And that's all the teachings. If you look at all the teachings in all the religions, it's coming back to within yourself,
yeah,
because we are in the grand scheme of oneness.
yeah.
And so, what I had remembered, I use God now a lot
Mhm,
because I remembered I was the one having God separate from me.
mhm,
And when I brought God within me, then I started. So, like when I'm guiding in my yoga nidra journeys, I'll say God, source creation, angels, whatever word resonates.
mhm,
Doesn't matter which word,
mhm.
it's what resonates with you.
Yeah.
And so, I do use God a lot because, I have such a connection, and constantly, like, before I facilitate a class, I go, "God, speak through me.
Mhm. Yeah,
God, allow me to speak to one person's heart who can touch the hearts of many."
yeah.
And that's how I operate. Like the other day, it was raining and everyone was getting all these messages, and I'm like, shoot, what do I do? Do I cancel my yoga nidra? What do I do? And I go, God, show me a sign. What am I meant to do? And I heard very clearly in me, I said, God's what is meant to be? He says, oh, cancel clear. I usually don't say he because I don't label. God is our source creation. And so I said, God, what is meant to be? And what I heard is, what is meant to be is what you choose to be. And I go, oh, I get to choose. And so then my husband shows up. Yeah. Show up powerfully. Show up for your powerful play, because I have an acronym for play, because I am a
Mhm.
wordsmith. Powerful love aligns you, rain or shine. And I go, yes, this is what I'm here for, no matter what.
I love it. I love it. Play. Play. It was such a fun word too.
Yes.
Mhm.
I actually just recently, because one of my great strengths, speaking of weakness to greatest strengths, um, my stay is very powerful.
Mm,
My stay is very powerful, especially staying in what I've yet to love.
mm,
I was the little girl who witnessed my parents, they'd either fist fight or meditate. I
mm,
was fed with a lot of consciousness unconsciously.
mhm,
And so I was the little girl who witnessed them fist fighting, and I would run from conflict.
mhm,
And one of my facilitators asked what I'm here for. And I said, I'm here for my peace and my love. And she goes, how
mm.
do you feel about conflict? I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. It is not me. She goes, how are you going to be here for peace and love and really show up for peace and love if you've yet to love conflict?
Yeah.
And I go, ooh. So that was the seed that was planted. So
Mhm,
now when something shows up that I have yet to love, and I know I'm aware of, I'm not loving this.
mhm.
It's triggering me. I'm not loving this. And I said, first, I'm honest with myself, because that helps.
Yeah,
Because if we're like, oh, yeah, this is great, this is all good. No, no, no. Be honest with yourself. How do you feel?
yeah.
I hate this. I got punished for saying hate.
Mhm,
And anything other than love is a form of hate. We've
mm,
just put a bow on it. The
mhm,
smallest form of dislike is still hate. So
mhm,
I'll say, I hate this right now. And then I go, God, help me love this. help me love what I'm feeling. Legions upon legions of angels, help me stay love for what I'm feeling. That's how we alchemize. That's why I call myself an alchemist, because I used to run from my feelings. I used to judge my feelings. And so
Yeah.
that's how we alchemize them. We get to, instead of resist them,
Yeah.
because what we resist persists.
Yeah.
What we love transforms and transcends in the trance we're in.
Yes, I love that. And running from our feelings, being able to recognize that you're doing that is like huge. It's key.
Mm.
And I love that truth piece, right? Because I grew up for the longest time, I would keep people at arm's length because in my mind, if they got to know me, they wouldn't like me. And so
Mhm.
recently I was in with a group of people for a long time, and I started to feel that I wanted to run. Like there was nothing going wrong. Everything was cool. And I was like, I've been here a long time. I bet you I was like starting to feel why would they still want to be hanging out with me? And I was like, I'm gonna sit in this. Like I could tell it was just an unease. And I was like, I'm gonna stay here and let my body know that I'm fine. Everything is fine. Whatever I had this imaginary fear of was literally just my imagination or just, you know. So I love that you brought that up. I didn't recognize initially what was going on until I really thought about it. I was like, oh, because I would not hang out with people. And if I did, it was for a very short time so that they didn't have time to figure me out, which is insane. So,
I can relate, as far as feeling you didn't fit in.
mhm,
And again, a weakness into a great strength.
mhm,
Um, my parents were a bit ahead of time,
mm, mhm,
so I was a strange one.
mhm,
My mom raised us, truth is one, paths are many. The truth
mm,
is love. Does it matter how you get there? No, because anything other than love and thriving is the illusion.
mhm,
And so whenever we are aligned with what is true for us. So I was the little girl who pretended like, I mean, I always have from very young child marched to my own beat.
mhm.
If I didn't like the rules, I made my own. And so I was like, yeah, it's okay. I can be myself. But secretively, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to blend in because I stood out. I felt I stood out as a sore thumb. So much so where there's been times where I wanted to take my own life. It was that painful for me to be here. Where I had thoughts of, I would look at the stars and say, take me home, because I felt I didn't belong here. And when I was little, 6 years old, I made an agreement and I said, God, I'm going to stay asleep. I said this at 6 years old. And when the world is ready, I will wake up. I had an aha moment about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Oh, I've had it backwards. I wake up and the world wakes up. And that's, have I shared with you my wake up song? I'll share that with you. And that's where it's a 14-year song of my journey of waking up. And
Love that.
what I remembered is I'm not here to fit in and be like the world outside of me, because the world outside of me is me. I'm here to remember I belong here. I have a purpose here. I am my purpose.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and what I love helping people is live in their purpose and live on purpose with passion.
I love that. And I can imagine if we're not in tune with ourselves, can't find what that is, that on purpose, that
No,
with passion and everything. So how do we turn that perceived weakness into a strength?
connection with our heart.
Mhm.
First starts with being in your tender me self. This is why I do a lot of inner child work, is really connecting with the little child inside you, not what the head wants. What is your heart asking? Because your heart always knows. Head wants to figure it out, justify, make sense, rationalize, tell stories. Your heart remembers, and remember is remember coming together in the wholeness of your being. And that's what I offer in my yoga nidra journeys, of coming together in the wholeness of your being. It's not up to me to tell you what's happening. It's God, source, creation, universe, angels, whatever word resonates with you. And it's your connection with your great self. And I simply am a conduit of our collective energy. And it's as we were chatting a little bit before about responsibility. Again, me witnessing my parents fist fighting, I made myself responsible for them fighting. So I became the over responsible, the conscious victim. And I was unconscious of it. and so about 2 years ago, this was a very fairly recent one, of when someone asked me how I feel about responsible, I said, I feel heavy. I feel alone. And so I started to, actually, this kind of happened when I had COVID, and I went into a very dark, dark place. I got very depressed, and I went so dark into the hole that I was like, oh, responsible is simply what we have: one responsibility, one, responding for your heart's call, not the responsible of what others. That's the over blame and shame game that we have. And it's, what is your heart asking? What is God telling you to do that you're not doing, that you're holding back, either fear? And that's why my most recent one is, I am courage in my being. How would your life be with you being courage? And having zero care of what letting others affect you. You be the cause, not the effect.
I love that. Be the cause, not the effect. I love that.
So I know how like I said, I played it very well. That's why I know it so well.
Yep.
Oh no.
So what I get from that, when we talking about perceived weakness, is not being in alignment or in tune with who we are.
Yes.
Turning that into a strength, because you don't recognize that you're unaligned until you get aligned. Right? So once you get there, that's how you can help other people bring themselves into alignment, because you've experienced that. That was at one time seemingly a weakness, but it was part of your journey.
Part of your soul's mission. Yes. 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 So yes, that's why I say I have mastered so many, and that didn't come from any course.
Right.
That didn't come from, it's come from my life experiences.
Yeah.
And I kept looking outside myself. And that's, like I said, my husband drops really great little nuggets of wisdom, of direct. And he goes, when are you going to start playing in your own sandbox? You have played in all these other sandboxes. When are you going to play in your own playground? So I'll pre-warn you, because I used to not curse, so now I'm okay with it, because I used to. So,
I like to express better sometimes.
It was a huge pivot in my life. It started from an argument we had. And remember the over responsibility. So I'd see something and I'm like, oh, you spot it, you got it. And then we were just basically pointing fingers. Well, when you point fingers, more point back at you. And he's like, I'm seeing lack in you. And I go, oh, well, you spotted in me. You got it. And we're just like going back and forth, poking at each other. And then I go downstairs and I go, Janaki, are you claiming Alex as you? Are you owning him? Not owning him of like, oh, he's mine. Owning him as he's my projection. He's showing me something inside me that I have yet to be aware of. And so then I was feeling depressed because I wasn't fully expressing myself. I wrote him a message. I go, we're going to have a conversation after yoga tomorrow, blah, 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 because I'm feeling depressed. The opposite is to express. And so he wakes me up in the middle of the night. He goes, scoot over. And he goes, I'm not here for rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. I'm here to dance through the storms with you. And he says, it pisses me off because you keep looking at others for inspiration. And you don't see how you unconsciously inspire the uninspired. You inspire so many people and you're not even aware of it. And it pisses me off because you're constantly looking outside yourself to get somewhere when you are already there. When are you going to drink your own fucking Kool-Aid? That was a huge shift in my life. I was like, it's different when you're saying to say, you can talk the talk, are you walking your walk?
Yeah. I love it. I don't know who all received that, but whoever watches this was definitely meant to get that.
And I use that a lot. I'm like, Janaki, are you drinking your fucking Kool-Aid?
Yeah. Right.
We can give the advice. Are we taking our own advice?
Right. Right. Absolutely. I love that. I get that a lot. As I shared before we started recording, 30 minutes flies by.
Yes.
It has been a beautiful conversation. Please share. I don't even know if you had a chance to take some tea. Please share how people can get in touch with you. And you said you had a retreat coming up in November. If you'd like to share about that as well, please do.
Yes. So, like hearing you was simple confirmation because I used to look for external validation to confirm who I was. Now I internally validate, hear external confirmation. So Sounds of the Soul is something so, so precious to my heart. I had a retreat, family resolutions, because I witnessed so much conflict in my family. And I remembered coming home, the home within our being, the home in our four walls. So as soon as I had that, I heard it's time for your women's retreat. So I have a women's retreat in November, from the November 10th through the 13th, called Sounds of the Soul. And it is about taking off the mask and hiding behind the persona of who we think others want us to be and showing up powerfully for here what we're meant to be. And I thought it was just me, and I'm finding this is a collective movement for so many women, for decades, for eons.
Yep.
And so I have that, and that's where right now my passion is, being our authentic, true expression of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as getting a hold of me, I'm even okay. Honestly, text message is the fastest way. So my number is, I'm happy to share that. That is 832-628-5606. Email is a great way too. Although I say if it's pressing, and text me, say, hey, I emailed you. And it's Janaki, Janaki, at Bhakti, BHAKTILIGHT.com. And then I have my Facebook as Janaki Mayhill, and my last name is Mayhill. And then you can find my Facebook page, my Instagram as Bhakti Light. What else?
And I'll put that in the description as well.
Okay, yeah. My website is under construction because in 2020 I required to let the Phoenix method happen, and I let everything dissolve of who I was, so I could rebuild of who I really am. Because I hid behind the yoga because it was comfortable.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's comfortable. We grow the most when we're uncomfortable. So that's what I love helping others do, is feel secure in their uncomfortability, because that's where we grow.
That's what I say, embrace ambiguity.
Of all those things we resist, bring them in, bring them in. They have gold.
Mhm. And you'll realize they're not as bad as we think they are. Like, our minds made them bigger than what they are.
No, no. And that's why I feel my yoga nidra journeys, and I imagine they're so, because they are so powerful, because I'm hearing people receive tangible results and so quickly within
Right.
the next day or two, or it's like, whoa, this is awesome. Because it's really not only we're not just going to the happy place and doing band-aid yoga, what I call, it's like feel good for the moment. We're
Mhm.
doing the deep inner work
Mhm.
and working through the shadows, because that's where we receive the gold, is in the darkness. In those little nuggets of shit, there's a little golden nugget.
And you don't recognize it 'cause you don't wanna touch it, and you
Yeah, and when we let ourselves be with it and bring it up, so that's what I create as a secure, sacred container for you to be with. Allow yourself to get dirty. That's what I
Mhm.
say, dig underneath the surface, what we've been suppressing, let it
Mhm.
come up,
Yeah,
because those are the gold nuggets that we have. That's where we receive our gold.
absolutely. I love it. Yep. Make sure you reach out to Janaki because she's freaking amazing.
Aw, I love you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you too. Um, thank you, thank you. This has been, as I
Yeah,
expected, a beautiful conversation, and
you're so
I'm
welcome.
sure that a lot of people will get a lot of nuggets out of it,
Yes.
and definitely we'll have you back because we got a lot more to talk about.
I have a huge journey of how I became bringing consciousness consciously.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in, for those who caught us live and for those who are catching the replay. Really appreciate you being here. Share it with anyone you know could benefit from this conversation. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell so you'll know anytime we go live or upload a new video. That said, have a great rest of your Sunday and we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Bye.